What are the typical stereotypes of and occurring with college students? Crazy, irresponsible, but also seriously lacking in the money department. We're all college students. We don't have much money. I'm going to show you ways that you can safely spend money and how to save some as well. I'm going to focus on what our priorities are and on credit cards. Credit cards spend money you don't have. Debit cards only spend money you have. I'm going to get back to them, but that's a very crucial difference to remember. Here are a couple of ways to manage your money better. The church put out a pamphlet online titled How to Be Money Smart. It talks about making a budget. It suggests that we create a list of things we'll purchase throughout the month and how much they'll probably cost. It tells us to separate our needs from our wants and to prioritize our needs. It tells us that after paying tithing and our immediate needs, to put most of the rest of the money left into savings. It doesn't tell us to spend the rest of it, or if we've already run out of money, to spend money we don't have by putting on credit cards. It finishes with, remember that making your budget work takes solid planning, a strong commitment, and self-discipline. It's tough, but it's worth it. And they're right. It takes a lot of self-discipline to not just go and buy everything in the entire world on an impulse buy right then. And it's tough, but it's worth it because you're not getting into debt and you're saving money at the same time. Getting into debt is so risky, and you need to try as hard as you can not to get into it. My parents don't believe in getting into debt. They try to pay off as much of something as they can, right when they get it. Obviously, that's not possible for everything, like a car or a house. But this means that they wait longer to make big purchases, so they can save up more. However, in the end, they pay less for it because there's less time for interest to be charged, and they don't go into as much debt in the first place. This is a strategy I'll try to emulate. In September of 2007, the church published an article in Ensign called One for the Money. It gives 3 points that are essentially relevant to my speech. The first one is learn to manage money before it manages you. This is kind of like my theme. You need to have the attitude of prioritizing and putting your money matters first, because if you let them go on too long, it'll come back and haunt you. Second is learn self-discipline and self-restraint in money matters. You can't just go and impulse buy everything. You got to think of your spouse and your family and just your finances in general first. And you're more likely to spend wisely if you do that. Don't impulse buy. It's just a bad idea all around. The third one is use a budget. The article says, be careful with your credit cards. They're principally for convenience and should not be used carelessly or recklessly. And it's true. Credit cards, it's just so easy to get something expensive and swipe and choose not to think about it, and then it'll be a trap. Not only will managing your money smarter get you out of debt and save you money, but it could save your marriage. The American Bar Association said that 89% of all divorces could be traced to quarrels and accusations over money. If you have money problems, it's going to bring some amount of stress to your home, for sure, especially if you and your spouse don't talk about how to deal with these problems. I sent out a survey on Facebook, and I got 57 responses. They pleased me, but sometimes scared me. Here's what I learned. Most of the responses were from freshmen, and that's expected. When asked about the biggest expense, after tuition, housing, and books, most said food for cooking, and that's good too. That's not rare. That's expected as well. But closely following that was eating out. And we all know that eating out is expensive. It's often the case that a meal at a restaurant is 3 or 4 times as expensive as meals that we would have made at home. It's not wrong to eat out, but if that's one of your biggest expenses and you don't have much money in the first place, then we should probably cut down on it. 42 of them said that they pay everyday expenses with a debit card, and that's good news. That's really good news, and not a credit card. However, 19 said that their parents are the ones paying for college, while 30 responses said that they are partially funded by scholarships, and some of those overlapped. And I know most of the people who responded were freshmen, and we're not expected to completely be able to pay for college for ourselves, but we should definitely have a part of it. However, one has to rate their amount of involvement on paying for college on a scale of 1 to 10. 16 of them put just a 1, and 3 of them put a 0. And we need to be more responsible. I think something we can all do better is manage our money before it manages us. Credit cards, especially for the relatively inexperienced young adults that we are a big temptation and really risky. Use a debit card instead. Keep a budget and follow it. Use self-discipline when tempted to impulse buy. And if you're a freshman, try to be more involved in your